Just another EPS student being awesome. They're still so awesome.
So my name is Colleen. Welcome to my interview. I'm attending University of Waterloo under the Arts and Business program, and I'm soon to be graduating in the upcoming June of 2022. And yes, I used to go to Elgin. I have a full-time job that I'm going to be doing. I'm putting grad school kind of off the table for now, because you can always return if you want to. I can only speak to Waterloo's. Like, I really love it. There's different streams, what we call it, like schedules. So some people do, like, in first year they do 4 months school work, 4 months work, and then they graduate. But then there's also like 8 months school, like 4 months 4 months work, like different scheduling. Yeah, so the school doesn't really get you a job. You have to find the job yourself. They provide support and database and like good relationship with employers and stuff like that. So I can elaborate more on that later. I feel like you just get a general sense and direction of what you're interested in, and then you won't know exactly what you want to do right away. So you kind of have to just apply to a bunch that you think you'd be interested in. And then the first co-op is always the hardest because you have like no job experience. And then once you do a few, you realize, oh, I like this, I don't like this, I like corporate, I don't like corporate. And you just kind of tailor it that way. This is kind of like what I was saying before. I realized I made a good decision going to Waterloo because I didn't really want to go into grad school. So job experience is really important, more important than grades in a way when you want to graduate right away with a job. Because with the co-op program, you get almost 2 years of relevant job experience after you graduate, even though the program is 5 years. So a lot of my friends have already graduated and I'm technically a year behind, but I would be graduating with up to like 2 years of relevant work experience. So that has been really beneficial in finding full-time job and like feeling more confident when you apply. Like, I wish I knew more the importance of like looking for relevant job experience compared to just studying for grades only. I would say it's very different. Like high school, you can honestly slack a lot. In university, depending on your program as well, there's a lot of crunch period. No one is really on your butt about finishing work and stuff like that. So you really have to make your own schedule, and the professors they don't know you. They don't know your name most of the time. So you really have to be responsible for your own work. So that's one of the biggest differences, because in high school, like, teachers know you and they will chase you down for homework. I guess a lot of like adulting skills is important. How to find an apartment, taxes, resume building, stuff like practical things that you will be using. I feel like having a good solid friend group that has, even if it's not a big friend group at all, like good support is important for mental health. Having like a hobby that you like doing is really important as well. Something that you do that can get your mind off of things. And I guess start developing good studying habits and things like that. Hold yourself accountable for deadlines and things, because that will be important if you do choose to go into post-secondary. Oh wait, no, tips and surviving post-secondary. I thought that was high school, but that kind of applies. Having a lot of good support, like maintaining good relationships. Oh, and really start like dabbling in things that you might be interested in the future. Like if you're into, let's say, marketing or social media marketing, you can join a lot of like clubs and things that give you opportunity to hone that skill. I had to dig into my email for this. I feel like the first admission I found out was University of Toronto, and that was in February, which is really early. But then the school I ended up going to is Waterloo, and that one I found out late March. I love this question because I actually accepted to go to McGill for psychology, like at first, and it was after I really sat down and thought about my goals and what I actually want and like researched the co-op program at Waterloo. I last minute decided to go to Waterloo instead. So I like this question because I was so close to choosing McGill. A lot of times I think back and I'm kind of glad I didn't. Well, I'm really glad I didn't because I guess with McGill, I would have just graduated with like a bachelor's of arts, like in major of psychology, and it would have been 4 years. I would have had no job experience, and I don't think becoming like a psychologist or psychiatrist was exactly what I was picturing. Like I love studying psychology, but I didn't know if I wanted to become like a therapist. So I had interest in business as well, but my math grades were not good enough to like go into a business school, nor did I really want to just focus on business. So at Waterloo, I picked like they have really random combinations of programs, but mine's called arts and business, and I get to major in psychology but take business courses, and my co-ops were business related. Yeah, to answer the question, I'm really glad, like in hindsight, I was so close to going to McGill, and I feel like I would have graduated being really confused, and I would have not known what my next steps were. But now I feel like I have a lot of clarity. Graduating Waterloo, which I'm in my last year, by the way. I'm graduating like technically in June, and I have a lot of clarity. I've done 5 co-ops, and it's helped me decide what I do like and don't like. Yeah, I am. Most friends, I feel like I don't talk to anymore, but I have a selective few that I do regularly keep in contact and text or meet up. Cindy being one of them. I feel like mental health is a huge common theme that you will come across in university. This is like pretty real, but the suicide rates of certain schools in Ontario are pretty high. And once you get to university, you kind of realize why, because sometimes it can be isolating if you don't reach out for help or support or have a good solid foundation of like good relationships. And the thing I notice about co-op is that because we're always switching from work, school, when you're like on a work term, you're not really with friends. You have to readjust to a new life again, especially pre-COVID when people used to move a lot for work. Like if you're used to having your friends at the University of Waterloo, but then suddenly you have to move to Mississauga or downtown Toronto where you don't know anyone, that can be hard. Or if you miss a co-op and you accidentally like if you miss a co-op, like you don't find a job, you could also be in a different stream as your friends that you've been used to, which just can also be lonely and isolating. So while your friends are doing school co-op, you would be doing the opposite. So you'll never really meet up with them. Things people should know about. Yeah, I think reaching out for help is important. And what other common problems? Oh, I see a lot of people like thinking they're really smart because in high school they got all the good grades, and then in first year they realize that they're just like a small fish in a big pond, and they get really almost like culture shock that wow, like I used to be the smartest person I know and now I'm not. And that I've seen it a lot where people, it really impacts their self-esteem. So when you tie your grades with like your self-identity, it's really difficult when you're not doing as well as you think in school. Like it impacts your self-esteem and who you are. So I would say keep grades as a separate thing. Like don't identify with grades. Yeah, and know that there's always smarter people, but like that's just the way it is. One piece of advice to the high school you. I don't even know. This one was the one I really had to think about. Um, I guess personally, like, don't beg for people's like love and affection and things like that. Like, just be you, and then um, yeah, do your best, and yeah, do your best. Try your best, and if it doesn't work out, try again. I think those are the questions. What other common problems? Oh, I see a lot of people like thinking they're really smart because they in high school they got all the good grades, and then in first year they realize that they're just like a small fish in a big pond, and they get really almost like culture shock that wow, like I used to be the smartest person I know and now I'm not. And that I've seen it a lot where people it really impacts their self-esteem. So when you tie your grades with like your self-identity, it's really difficult um when you're not doing as well as you think in school. Like it impacts your self-esteem and who you are. So I would say keep grades as a separate thing. Like don't identify with grades, and know that there's always smarter people, but like that's just the way it is. I guess personally, like don't beg for people's like love and affection and things like that. Like just be you, and then do your best. Try your best, and if it doesn't work out, try again. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I will recommend Waterloo Co-op to anyone. I really believe in it. So you can reach out to me either on my email or my Instagram, which is at Colleen U with 2 U's. Yeah, I hope this has helped you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Just another EPS student. So awesome. They're still awesome.